Good evening, everybody. Hi, Anita. Hi, Jochen. Hi, Dunya. Hi, everybody else who's on, but I can't see right now. Let me just turn this music down. There we go. And then I'm going to turn it off. Et voilà. No, et voilà. It's us. Good evening, everybody. How are you this fine Tuesday evening? I hope you enjoyed all of Saman's reading last week. We had actually on Saturday, we had agreed that I would read a couple of days beforehand, but we got it mixed up and she thought that she was reading. So you had the pleasure of hearing her beautiful voice again. Here I am now to read you from the 37th night of 1001 Arabian Nights. For those of you who are watching the first time, my name is Joanna Godwin Seidl. I am the director and I run the theatre company that is Vienna Theatre Project. And at the beginning of the lockdown, we started reading from this book, and we are going to continue to do so until we stop. So that's it, really. And even though things have loosened up in Austria, at least, and people can actually go out to restaurants and bars right now, I don't know what it's like. Hi, Anita. Thank you for the hello. I don't know what it's like for you lot, but I do hear that there is hesitation, and I have gone to a few places actually myself. I was in a cafe house yesterday actually with a friend in the evening. And as you have seen from the photos, any of you who watch my private page, or Saman's private page, we have also met for lunch a couple of times. But we are so far, the places that we've been to, we are noticing are empty. And yesterday, actually, I have to say, when I met my friend Georgina, we had a very humorous conversation, first of all, about meeting. And then we both agreed, as it was quite cold outside in Austria yesterday evening, in Vienna yesterday evening, that we would be happy to meet inside, but let's meet somewhere that's not too busy and full. So that is what we did. Do I look crooked? I don't know how to fix that up. Oh, well, there we go. It's just the way it is, everybody. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to crack on, because, of course, Saman had that nice short 20-minute one on Saturday night, and I, of course, once again have picked the lucky 10-page number, which is the 37th night. So I will just crack on, and if you want to know what happened in the previous nights, please feel free to watch them all. And I will tell you now, just in case I forget to say it at the very end, this week, Saman and I are reading Tuesday to Friday, and next week on Tuesday we will have our special guest, Sam Mardwar, back, who is going to read us something, I don't know what. Oh, here's Georgie's come to say, you coming to say hello? Georgie's come to say hello again. He was so comfortable on the sofa a minute ago. Don't knock this stand, whatever you do. Hello, good evening. Don't knock the stand though, okay? Right, now you can go again. Now you can go again, boo-boo. Go, baby. Go on. You were so comfortable on my sofa, even though you're not allowed on there. Go on, either sit down or go. All right? Make your mind up. All right, so back to the reading. It's my dog, Georgie, everybody who doesn't know, who likes to join us very occasionally and snort at me and say hello and basically get a stroke, which is obviously what he's into right now. Well, you're just going to sit down then, baby. Georgie, sit down. That's it. Good boy. So Sam Mardwar will be on next Tuesday. We don't know what he's going to be reading yet, but he's going to be reading something fun or beautiful or whatever. And if you missed his last reading, please, again, make sure that you check that out online, because it's on our video page on the Vienna Theatre Project Facebook page. Okay, right. Are you going to let me start reading now? You don't like that smell anyway. I've got incense burning again. I mean, normally he doesn't like it, but you're not going away, are you? Baby, I've got to read now, okay? You sit down or you go. Make a decision. You're going to sit down. Okay. Well then, no, Georgie, no. Georgie, no? Okay, I'm going to start. So, now, when it was the 37th night, Scheherazade said, It has reached me, O auspicious king, that Nur al-Din sat upright and said, Ho, Sheikh Ibrahim, what is this? Did I not adjure thee a while ago, and thou refusest, saying, What I? 'Tis 13 years ago since I have done such a thing. By Allah, quoth the Sheikh, and indeed he was abashed. No sin of mine this, she forced me to do it. Nur al-Din laughed, and they sat down again to wine and wassail. But the damsel turned to her master and said in a whisper, O my lord, drink and do not press him, that I may show thee some sport with him. Then she began to fill her master's cup, and he hers, and so they did time after time, till at last Sheikh Ibrahim looked at them and said, What fashion of good fellowship is this? Allah curse the glutton who keepeth the cup to himself. Why dost thou not give me a drink, O my brother? What manners? What manners are these, O blessed one? At this the two laughed until they fell on their backs. Then they drank and gave him to drink, and ceased not their carousel till a third part of the night was past. Then said the damsel, O Sheikh Ibrahim, with thy leave I will get up and light one of these candles. Do so, he replied, but light no more than one. So she sprang to her feet, and beginning with one candle, lighted all the 80 and sat down again. Presently Nur al-Din said, O Sheikh Ibrahim, in what favour am I with thee? May I not light one of these lamps? Light one, replied he, and bother me no more in thy turn. So he rose and lighted one lamp after another, till he had lighted the whole 80, and the palace seemed to dance with brilliancy. Quoth the Sheikh, and indeed intoxication had overcome him, Ye two are bolder than I am. Then he rose to his feet and opened all the lattices and sat down again. And they fell to carousing and reciting verses till the palace sang and rang with their noisy mirth. Now Allah, the decreer, who decreeth all things, and who for ever effect appointeth the cause, had so disposed that the Caliph was at that moment sitting in the light of the moon at one of the windows of his palace, overlooking the Tigris. He saw the blaze of the lamps and the wax candles reflected in the river, and, lifting his eyes, perceived that it came from the garden palace, which was all ablaze with brilliancy. So he cried, Here to me with Jafar the Barmaki. And the last word was hardly spoken ere the wazir was present before the commander of the faithful, who cried at him, O dog of a minister, hast thou taken from me the city of Baghdad without saying aught to me? What words are these? Asked Jafar. And the Caliph answered, If Baghdad city were not taken from me, the palace of pictures would not be illuminated with lamps and candles, nor would its windows be thrown open. Woe to thee, who durst do a deed like this, except the caliphate had been taken from me. Quoth Jafar, and indeed his side muscles trembled as he spoke. Who told thee that the palace of pictures was illuminated and the windows thrown open? Come hither and see, replied the Caliph. Then Jafar came close to the Caliph, and looking towards the garden, saw the palace blazing with illumination that rayed through the gloom of the night, and thinking that this might have been permitted by the keeper for some reason of his own, he wished to make an excuse for him. So quoth he, "O Commander of the Faithful, Sheikh Ibrahim said to me last week, O my Lord Jafar, I much wish to circumcise my sons during the life of the Commander of the Faithful and thy life. I asked, What dost thou want? And he answered, Get me leave from the Caliph and tell him. Thereupon he went away, and I forgot to let thee know." "O Jafar," said the Caliph, thou hast committed two offences against me. First, in that thou didst not report to me. Secondly, thou didst not give him what he sought. For he came and told me this only as an excuse to ask for some small matter of money to help him with the outlay, and thou gavest him nothing, nor toldest me." "O Commander of the Faithful," said Jafar, "I forgot. Now by the rights of my forefathers and the tombs of my forebears," quoth the Caliph, "I will not pass the rest of this night save in company with him. For truly he is a pious man who frequenteth the elders of the faith and the fakirs and other religious mendicants, and entertaineth them. Doubtless they are now assembled together, and it may be that the prayer of one of them will work as weal both in this world and in the next. Besides, my presence may profit, and at any rate be pleasing to the Sheikh Ibrahim." "O Commander of the Faithful," quoth Jafar, "the greater part of the night is past, and this is time they will be breaking up for sure." Quoth the Caliph, "It matters not. I needs must go to them." So Jafar held his peace, being bewildered and knowing not what to do. Then the Caliph rose to his feet, and taking with him Jafar and the Masrur, the eunuch sorter, the three disguised themselves in merchants' gear, and leaving the city palace, kept threading the streets till they reached the garden. The Caliph went up to the gate, and finding it wide open, was surprised, and said, "See, O Jafar, how Sheikh Ibrahim hath left the gate open at this hour, contrary to his custom." They went in and walked on till they came under the pavilion, where the Caliph said, "O Jafar, I wish to look in upon them unawares before I show myself, that I may see what they are about and get sight of the elders, for hitherto I have never heard no sound from them, nor even a fakir calling upon the name of Allah." Then he looked about, and, seeing a walnut tree, said to Jafar, "I will climb this tree, for its branches are near the lattices, so look in upon them." Thereupon he mounted the tree, and ceased not climbing from the branch to branch till he reached a bough which was right opposite one of the windows, and here he took seat and looked inside the palace. He saw a damsel and a youth, as they were two moons, glory be to him who created them and fashioned them, and by them Sheikh Ibrahim seated, cup in hand, and saying, "O princess of fair ones, drinking without music is nothing worth. Indeed, I have heard a poet say, 'Round with big and little the bowl and cup, take either that moon in his sheen hath crowned. Nor drink without music, for oft I've seen the horse drink best to the whistle's sound.'" When the Caliph saw this, the vein of wrath started up between his eyes, and he came down and said to the wazir, O Jafar, never beheld I yet men of piety in such case. So do thou mount this tree and look upon them, lest the blessing of the blessed be lost to thee. Jafar, hearing the words of the commander of the faithful, and being confounded by them, climbed to the treetop, and looking in, saw Nur al-Din and the damsel, and Sheikh Ibrahim holding in his hand a brimming bowl. At this sight, he made sure of death, and, descending, stood before the commander of the faithful, who said to him, O Jafar, praise be to Allah, who hath made us of those that observe external ordinances of holy law, and hath averted from us the sin of disguising ourselves after the manner of hypocrites. But Jafar could not speak a word for excess of confusion. So Caliph looked at him and said, I wonder how they came hither, and who admitted them into my pavilion. But aught like the beauty of this youth and this damsel my eyes never yet saw. Thou sayest sooth, O our lord the Sultan, replied Jafar, and he hoped to propitiate the Caliph Harun al-Rashid. Then quoth the Caliph, O Jafar, let us both mount the branch opposite the window, that we may amuse ourselves with looking at them. So the two climbed the tree, and peering in, heard Sheikh Ibrahim say, O my lady, I have cast away all gravity mine by the drinking of wine, but 'tis not sweet save with the soft sounds of the lute strings it combine. By Allah, replied Anis al-Jalis, O Sheikh Ibrahim, and we had but some instrument of music, our joyance were complete. Hearing this, he rose to his feet, and the Caliph said to Jafar, I wonder what he is about to do. And said Jafar answered, I know not. The Sheikh disappeared and presently reappeared, bringing a lute. And the Caliph took note of it and knew it for that of Abu Ishaq, the cup companion. By Allah, said the Caliph, if this damsel sing ill, I will crucify all of you. But if she sing well, I will forgive them and only gibbet thee. O Allah, cause her to sing vilely. Quoth Jafar, asked the Caliph, why so? And he answered, if they crucify us all together, we shall keep one another company. The Caliph laughed at his speech, and presently the damsel took the lute, and, after looking at it and tuning it, she played a measure which made all hearts yearn to her. Then she sang these lines. O ye that can aid me, a wretched lover, whom longing burns, nor can rest restore me. Though all you have done I have well deserved, I take refuge with you, so exalt not o'er me. True, I am weak and low and vile, but I'll bear your will, and whatso you bore me. My death at your hands, what brings it of glory? I fear but your sin, which of life forlore me. Quoth the Caliph, "By Allah, O Jafar, never in my life have I heard a voice so enchanting as this." "Then haply the Caliph's wrath have passed away," said Jafar, and he replied, "Yes, 'tis gone." Thereupon they descended from the tree. And the Caliph said to Jafar, "I wish to go in and sit with them and hear the damsel sing before me." "O Commander of the Faithful," replied Jafar, "if thou go into them, they will be terribly troubled, and Sheikh Ibrahim will surely die of fright." But the Caliph answered, "O Jafar, thou must teach me some device wherewith to delude them, and whereby I can foregather with them, and without their knowing me." So they walked towards the Tigris, pondering the matter, and presently came upon a fisherman who stood fishing upon the pavilion windows. Now, some time before this, the Caliph, being in the pavilion, had said to Sheikh Ibrahim and asked him, "What noise is this that I hear under the windows?" And he had answered, "It is the voices of fisherfolk catching fish." So quoth the Caliph, "Go down and forbid them this place." And he forbade them accordingly. However, that night a fisherman named Karim, happening to pass by and seeing the garden gate open, said to himself, "Oh, this is a time of negligence, and I will take advantage of it to do a bit of fishing." So he took his net and cast it. But he had hardly done so when, behold, the Caliph came up single-handed, and standing hard by him, knew him and called aloud to him, "Ho, Karim!" The fisherman, hearing himself named, and turned round, and seeing the Caliph, trembled, and his side muscles quivered as he cried, "By Allah, O Commander of the Faithful, I did it not in mockery of the mandate, but poverty and a large family drove me to what thou seest." Quoth the Caliph, "Make a cast in my name." At this, the fisherman was glad, and going to the bank, threw his net. Then, waiting till it had spread out a full stretch and settled down, hauled it up and found in it various kinds of fish. The Caliph was pleased and said, "O Karim, doff thy habit." So he put off a gabardine of coarse wool, stuff patched in 100 places whereon the lice were rampant, and a turband which had never been untwisted for 3 years, but to which he had sewn every rag he came upon. The Caliph also pulled off his person 2 vests of Alexandrian and Bal al-Bak silk, a loose inner robe, and a long-sleeved outer coat, and said to the fisherman, "Take them and put them on." While he assumed the foul gabardine and filthy turban, and drew a corner of the headcloth as a mouth vial before his face, then said he to the fisherman, "Get thee about thy business." And the man kissed the Caliph's feet and thanked him, and improvised the following couplets. "Thou hast granted more favours than ever are craved. Thou hast satisfied needs which my heart enslaved. I will thank thee, and thank while as life shall last, and my bones will praise thee in grave engraved." Hardly had the fisherman ended his verse when the lice began to crawl over the Caliph's skin, and he fell to catching them on his neck with his right and left and throwing them from him, while he cried, "Oh, fisherman, woe to thee! What be this abundance of life on thy gabardine?" "Oh, my lord," replied he, "they may annoy thee just at first, but before a week is past, thou wilt not feel them nor think of them." The Caliph laughed and said to him, "Out on thee! Shall I leave this gabardine of thine for so long on my body?" Quoth the fisherman, "I would say a word to thee, but I am ashamed in presence of the Caliph." And quoth he, "Say what thou hast to say." "Well, it passed through my thought, O Commander of the Faithful," said the fisherman, "that since thou wishest to learn fishing, so thou mayest have it in hand an honest trade whereby to gain thy livelihood. This my gabardine besitteth thee right well." The Commander of the Faithful laughed at this speech, and the fisherman went his way. Then the Caliph took up the basket of fish, and strewing a little green grass over it, carried it to Jafar and stood before him. Jafar, thinking him to be the Kareem, the fisherman, feared for him and said, "Kareem, what brought thee hither? Flee for thy life, for the Caliph is in the garden tonight, and if he see thee, thy neck is gone." At this, the Caliph laughed, and Jafar recognized him and asked, "Can it be thou, O my lord, our lord, the Sultan?" And he answered, "Yes, O Jafar, and thou art my wazir, and I and thou come hither together, yet thou knowest me not. So how should Sheikh Ibrahim know me and he drunk? Stay here till I come back to thee." "To hear is to obey," said Jafar. Then the Caliph went up to the door of the pavilion and knocked a gentle knock. Whereupon said Nur al-Din, "Oh, Sheikh Ibrahim, someone taps at the door." "Who goes there?" cried the Sheikh, and the Caliph replied, "It is I, O Sheikh Ibrahim." "Who art thou?" quoth he, and quoth the other, "I am Kareem, the fisherman. I hear thou hast a feast, so I have brought thee some fish, and of a truth 'tis good fish." When Nur al-Din heard the mention of fish, he was glad, he and the damsel, and both they said to the Sheikh, "O our lord, open the door and let him bring us his fish." So Sheikh Ibrahim opened, and the Caliph came in, and in his fisherman guise, and began by saluting them. Said Sheikh Ibrahim, "Welcome to the blackguard, the robber, the dicer. Let us see thy fish." So the Caliph showed them his catch, and behold, the fishes were still alive and jumping. Whereupon the damsel exclaimed, "By Allah, O my lord, these are indeed fine fish. Would they were fried." And Sheikh Ibrahim rejoined, "By Allah, O my lady, thou art right." Then said he to the Caliph, "O fisherman, why didst thou not bring us the fish ready fried? Up now and cook them and bring them back to us." "On my head, be thy commands, said the Caliph. I will fry thee a dish and bring it. Said they, look sharp. Thereupon he went out and ran till he came to Jafar, when he called to him, Hello, Jafar! And he replied, Here am I, O Commander of the Faithful. Is all well? Oh, they want the fish fried, said the Caliph. And Jafar answered, Commander of the Faithful, give it to me and I'll fry it for them. By the tombs of my forebears, quoth the Caliph, none shall fry it but I, with mine own hand. So he went to the gardener's hut, where he searched and found all that he required, even to salt and saffron and wild marjoram and else besides. Then he turned to the brazier and, setting on the frying pan, fried a right good fry. When it was done, he laid it on a banana leaf and, gathering from the garden wind-fallen fruits, limes and lemons, carried the fish to the pavilion and set the dish before them. So the youth and the damsel and the Sheikh Ibrahim came forward and ate, after which they washed their hands, and Nur al-Din said to the Caliph, By Allah, O fisherman, thou hast done us a right good deed this night. Then he put her hand in his pouch, and taking out 3 of the dinars which Sanjar had given him, said, O fisherman, excuse me. By Allah, had I known thee before that which hath lately befallen me, I had done away the bitterness of poverty from thy heart. But take thou this as best as I can do for thee. Then he threw the gold pieces to the Caliph, who took them and kissed them and put them in pouch. Now his sole object in doing all this was to hear the damsel sing. So he said to Nur al-Din, Thou hast rewarded me most liberally, but I beg of thy boundless bounty that thou let this damsel sing an air that I may hear her. So Nur al-Din said, O Anis al-Jalis, and she answered yes. And he continued, By my life, sing us something for the sake of this fisherman, who wisheth so much to hear thee. Whereupon she took the lute and struck the strings, and after she had screwed them tight and tuned them, she sang these improvised verses. The fawn of a maid bent her lute in hand, and her music made us right mettlesome. For her song gave hearing to ears stone deaf. Well, brava, brava, exclaimed the dumb. Then she played again, and playing so ravishingly that she charmed their wits and burst out improvising and singing these couplets. You have honoured us, visiting this with our land, and your splendour illumined the glooms that blent. So 'tis due that for you I perfume my place with rosewater, musk, and the camphor scent. Hereupon the Caliph was agitated, and emotion so overpowered him that he could not command himself for excess of pleasure, and he exclaimed, By Allah good, by Allah good, by Allah good. Asked Nur al-Din, O fisherman, does this damsel please thee? And the Caliph answered, Aye, by Allah. Whereupon said Nur al-Din, She is a gift to thee, a gift of the generous, who repenteth him not of his givings, and who will never revoke his gift. Then he sprang to his feet, and taking a loose robe, threw it over the fisherman, and bade him receive the damsel and be done. But she looked at him and said, O my lord, art thou faring forth without farewell? If it must be so, At least stay till I bid thee good-bye and make known my case. And she began versifying these verses. When love and longing and regret are mine, must not this body show of ills a sign? My love, say not thou soon shalt be consoled. When state speaks state, none shall allay my pine. If living man could swim upon his tears, I first should float on waters of these eyne. O thou, who with my heart infusest thy love, as water mingles in the cup with wine. This was the fear I feared, this parting blow. O thou, whose love my heart core ne'er shall tine. O Bin Khakan, my thought, my hope, my will. O thou, whose love this breast made wholly thine. Against thy love, the king, thou sinnest for me, and winnest exile in lands peregrine. Allah, ne'er make my Lord repent my loss. To cream, O men, thou gavest me one right dine. When she had ended her verses, Nur al-Din answered her with these lines. She bade me farewell on our parting day, and she wept in the fire of our bane and pains. What wilt thou do when fro thee I'm gone? Quoth I, say this, to whom life remains. When the Caliph heard her saying in her verse, to Karim, the cream of men, thou gavest me, his inclination for her redoubled, and it seemed a hard matter and grievous to part them. So quoth he to the youth, O my lord, truly the damsel said in her verses that thou didst transgress against her master and him who owned her. So tell me, against whom didst thou transgress, and who is it hath a claim on thee? By Allah, O fisherman, replied Nur al-Din, there befell me and this damsel a wondrous tale and a marvellous matter, and 'twere graven with needle gravers on the eye corners. It would be a warner to those who would be warned. Cried the Caliph, and I forgot my accent, wilt thou not tell me thy story and acquaint me with thy case? Haply it may bring thee relief, for Allah's aid is never near hand. O fisherman, said Nur al-Din, wilt thou hear our history in verse or in prose? Sadly, he said, prose is a wordy thing, but verses, rejoined the Caliph, are pearls on string. Then Nur al-Din bowed his head and made these couplets. O my friend, reft of rest no repose I command, and my grief is redoubled in this far land. Erst I had a father, a kinder ne'er was, but he died, and to death paid the dear dand. When he went from me, every matter went wrong, till my heart was nigh broken, my nature unmanned. He bought me a handmaid, a sweeting who shamed, a wand of the willow, by Zephyr befanned. I lavished upon her mine heritage, and spent like a nobleman, pursuant and grand. Then to sell her compelled, my sorrow increased. The parting was sore, but I mote not gainstand. Now, as soon as the crier had called her there hid a wicked old fellow, a fiery brand. So I raged with a rage that I could not restrain, and snatched her from out of his hireling's hand. When the anger carcumenged, made ready for blown, and the fire of a fight kindled he and his band, I smote him in fury, with right and with left, and his hide till well, satisfied, curried and tanned. Then in fear I fled forth, and lay hid in my house, to escape from the snares which my foeman had spanned. So the king of the country proclaimed my arrest, when access to me a good chamberlain fand, and warned me to flee from the city afar, disappear, disappoint what my enemies planned. Then we fled from our home, 'neath the wing of the night, and sought as if refuge by Baghdad's strand. Of my riches I've nothing on thee to bestow, O fisher, except the fair gift that thou hast scanned, the love of my soul, and when I from her part, know for sure that I give thee the blood of my heart. When he had ended his verse, the Caliph said to him, O my lord Nur al-Din, explain to me thy case more fully. So he told him the whole story from beginning to end, and the Caliph said to him, Whither dost thou now intend? Allah's world is wide, replied he. Quoth the Caliph, I will write thee a letter to carry to the Sultan Mohammed bin Suleiman al-Zani, which when he readeth, he will not hurt thee nor harm thee in aught. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. So, I've just appeared out of view. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was a lovely story. I love the accents. That was a very lovely story this evening, was it not? And I like the Caliph getting dressed up in his fisherman's outfit and all those lice. When I read it, initially I laughed when all those lice sprang out of his nasty, gauze, whatever it is, clothing that he's wearing from Karim, the fisherman. A lovely name, actually, Karim. And Suleiman, my mum, actually, had a horse called Suleiman, and she sold him 2 years ago. Thank you so much for the hearts and the likes, everybody. That's so lovely. This is thanks. You're welcome, Jochen. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I really enjoyed it. I got hungry as well reading about that great food. Hi, Corinne. How are you? Was it last week, wasn't it, your birthday? Hope you had a good one. Yes, I got hungry reading about that food as well. And eating off a banana leaf reminded me of once, I'm going to show off a little bit here, being in Singapore. My parents lived in Singapore for a while, and we went to a restaurant run by Tamil, and we ate from banana leaves with our hands, with our right hand, obviously, in that restaurant. Though it was a European, you could ask for a knife and fork, but we wanted to do what the locals do, and we ate that, and it was brilliant food. It was really run-down cafe kind of, like a British greasy spoon kind of place, if any of you know what those are like. And it was very run down. It was brilliant, really superb food. Guys, I don't know what time it is. I hope you enjoyed this evening. I very much, as usual, enjoyed reading for you. I hope you are all looking after yourselves. It is now 22:32. It wasn't so bad, actually, was it? About 10 pages long. It was an absolute pleasure reading for you again, wherever you are in the world. Thank you again for hearts and likes, everybody. That's so lovely to get them. It always warms both Saman and I up very, very much when we receive your kind words and your kind thoughts. And we do talk every day to each other, actually, and we talk about how the reading went the night before and what we particularly liked about the reading, or what we liked about the guests that came and watched us that night and the things that they said. Thank you, Anna, for your words. Yeah, so guys, look after yourselves over the next few days. Be very, very careful. I know things have loosened up, but still make sure you go into places and watch out for yourselves and watch out for other people, and wear your mask. It's not a big deal. We luckily, unless you're in a shop, of course. Well, I don't know. Do you have to wear? Do you have to? You can, Corinne, you can read it. You can read it. You can listen to it later. You don't have to worry about missing anything. All of the videos, everybody, all of the videos since the get-go are still online in our video section on Vienna Theatre Project. That includes the videos from our guest reader, Robert Pym. There were 3 of those. And that includes, still for the moment, last week's video from Sam Madvar, which is, you want to sit in for a long one for that one, because that's about an hour and a half, but it's an hour and a half of pure laughter and fun. And Robert Pym's stories are absolutely brilliant as well. In fact, it made my husband and I go out and buy his books last week. So we went into Shakespeare and Company's, a little advert for them. If you've never been in there before, you live in Vienna and you like buying British books, don't buy them on that big company, which I probably shouldn't name because I don't know, I'll get into trouble or something. Don't buy them from that big book that you can buy online, right? There's another book on Maria Hilfstrasse, which is quite big. Don't buy it from there. There's a lovely, tiny little shop in the 1st district, kind of around the Bermuda Triangle area, okay? Actually, it is actually right in bang slap on the edge of the Bermuda Triangle, called Shakespeare and Company, and that is where we bought Robert Pym's books, my husband and I, last weekend. And you can buy a book and go for a meal afterwards, or go for a drink at a bar afterwards, kind of thing. There's lots of nice little foodie places around the area. So you can buy Robert Pym's books at Shakespeare and Company, and lots of other. And it's one of these really lovely old school bookshops, you know, where the books are stacked up on top of each other, and it's like a little gorgeous little treasure trove of books. And there's a huge children's book section at the back, which is, hi Evelyn, lovely to see you, hi there. Saw Evelyn last week as well. We share the same hairdresser. So do go and visit Shakespeare and Company, and you can buy Robert's books there before you buy them online. I think it's always good, if you can do it, to support local shops and local businesses. Isn't that true? Especially in these hard times when a lot of those local businesses have been really suffering for 7 weeks because of the shutdowns and stuff. So, guys, I hope the weather picks up. It's been chucking it down with rain, and my poor dog, every time I said, right, the clouds have cleared, Georgie, let's go for a walk, we would have barely step outside the door and whoosh, it would come pouring down again. And here's a funny story, and I hope you don't mind me saying that and then I will go away and leave you to your evening. Of course, you're free to go if you want to. Was it yesterday or the day before my son came in? And as I think some of you already know, he's working in an old people's home, and it was chucking down on Sunday really, really badly. Those of you will know about it. You are welcome, Corinne. You can read them anytime. And by the way, everybody, I do apologise for the first few of them. We're actually going to re-record those, and I apologise, and I'll tell you why I'm going to do that. Is because Saman and I are out and out professionals, and we do like to try and give as good a job as we can reading these pages, although sometimes I could show you to basically it is one great big, let me find a page. This is what the page looks like that we are reading, okay? So it's one great big column of pages, and then occasionally we'll have a nice little verse in the whole lot. But of course, we'd actually never done live readings before. You know, being on stage is very, very different to doing a live reading in front of people. So we say our first week was our trial week until we got into our groove and finally found our groove. So anyway, so Corinne, excuse the first few, okay? We are going to re-record them, but they're fun anyway. You know, as I said, we were trial and error and we were in a lockdown. So what are you going to do? So my son the other day was coming out of his old age pensioners home that he works in, and also with him, he had hardly stepped a foot out of the door and he was just in a t-shirt and shorts. And because when he left in the morning to go to work, it wasn't raining. So he stepped out of the door and whoosh, it literally, those of you in Vienna will know that certainly where I live, it came down like a sheet. And then he went, oh, because my son is half Austrian and half English. And he said, I'm half English, this doesn't bother me. And he walked out in the rain and walked home. It's only like a 15-minute walk because luckily he's working locally at the moment as part of his Zivildienst. And so he's walking along the road, minding his own business. And in the opposite direction comes a young girl about his age and says, and she's also no umbrella, no t-shirt, nothing. And she says, she looks at him and he looks at her, they stop, and she stops him and she goes, are you English? And he says, yeah, how did you know? And she goes, because you're doing exactly what I'm doing. You're walking home in a t-shirt in the rain and it doesn't bother you remotely. So that was my son's British rain story. And I was so proud of him when he said it, because my husband the other day was like, no, where's your umbrella? Where's your umbrella? And I was like, I would go out in this in a t-shirt and sandals and it wouldn't bother me remotely. That, by the way, in case you weren't sure, was my son flushing the toilet, in case you heard it.
Very refreshing tea.
I do apologise, but we are, I don't know, are we still in lockdown? Not really, right? Sunny in Austria, we're not really in, I know. They're all laughing, Daniel, at what you said. Would you want to come, and say hello? I actually cooked my son a shepherd's pie for dinner. You can't get more English than that. Please be polite though, okay?
Next time cook beans so your viewers can have a sip from nom.
All right, thank you. That's enough now. I'm really sorry. I apologise. Whatever he says to you, I apologise. This is professional, okay?
Hello.
So that's my son, everybody. His name's Daniel. He's 20 years old and he's currently working in an old age pensioners home doing his Zivildienst, which you have to do in Austria legally. Martin, hello Martin, which you have to do legally in Austria to be able to carry on with the rest of your life. So that's my son for you. Can you say goodbye now and
I'm
go?
going to vanish quietly upstairs. Have fun.
They're all laughing. Thanks. And, you know, if only he'd pull his pants up as he's walking up the stairs, quite frankly. Oh, and Georgie's come to say hello, hello. Georgie, say hello. Look, Georgie, raise your paw. Oh, look, he's raising his paw to say hello to you. What a sweetheart you are. Oh, he smells a bit fishy. Fishy breath. So now you've met some of my family, the other ones in his office. Now you've met reading books, actually. Actually, you know what he's reading? My husband is reading Robert Pym's book right now. He took it upstairs with him. So, are we going to say goodbye? Say goodbye in your own words. Are you going to say goodbye in your own words? Are you going to say goodbye to our nice guests this evening? What do you think? Bark? Anything? No? No, he just wants a stroke. Everybody, have a wonderful day, a lovely evening, wherever you are. Have a great night. If you're just about to hop into bed, because this is your nighttime story, have a wonderful, wonderful sleep, plenty of sweet dreams. And I've been told, always write your dreams down, okay? Because often they are a mirror to your soul and you can work out the next day what they meant. That's important. Isn't it, Georgie? It's important. You're just about to knock. Don't knock the tripod before I go. Right, everybody, have a wonderful, wonderful night. Take care of yourself. Oh, Saman is on tomorrow. Don't forget. So, Saman is on tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I will see you on Thursday without fail. Say goodbye in your own words. Quickly. Just 3 words, maybe. Don't knock the tripod. He's going to knock the tripod. I better get off. Good night, everybody. Take care of yourselves.